I want to welcome everyone to our sixth FCS Town Hall with the CEO of 2020. I'm Bill Shelton, the CEO of the FCF, excuse me. Wish I was CEO of the FCC. But more importantly, I'm the CEO of the First Tee of Monterey County, the Pay It Forward Scholarship Program, and the Taylor Farms Center for Learning, our STEM program. We serve over 10,000 youth a year before the pandemic, and we still hope to serve a few thousand. One of the most important parts of our efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic is to maintain communication with our stakeholders and provide services to our participants, and these town halls are a part of that. Our guests today are two people who have achieved success over adversity. But before I go to them, let me show you some of our recent stars who have achieved success despite challenges. And that's our graduating seniors from our First Tee program and also from our Pay It Forward Scholarship program. Here they come. That's what I'm talking about. Some of the people I'm most proud of are in these pictures. The pictures that you all are seeing and for our guests are pictures of our Pay It Forward Scholarship and Mentoring Program. These are students who have received scholarships from us, a $20,000 a year scholarship to go to CSUMB, and that's Cal State University, Monterey Bay. And also from our First Tee program, we'll be seeing photos of the people who are coming up, our seniors from the First Tee program. We wanted to give them special recognition, particularly because of the lack of graduation ceremonies happening throughout, the country, not happening throughout the country. We wanted to recognize our seniors and let you see their faces and see them highlighted by us during this period in time. And we thought it was worth a few minutes of this town hall to have their lovely pictures and their accomplishments listed. We're really proud of all of them. They've put in a lot of hard work and time and effort to become graduates, both from college and from high school. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to recognize them during this time. I know how important my graduation was for me to be able to walk across the stage and see my family and friends there. And, it's a big moment. And it's a moment that some way, somehow, we hope to later on be able to recognize these young people at some event, hopefully sometime in the near future. And our First Tee of Monterey class, I think it's just a few of them. And these have all been people who have, given back a lot to our programs. They've mentored, they've volunteered, they've worked with us, with our young elementary students that we service and provide services for. So they're just not, our graduating class. They're actually people who have put back into our programs. One of our own. And JJ, last picture you saw is a current staff member who's helped some of these kids receive scholarships this year by helping them prep. Our guest today, once again, I'm really proud of and excited about. We've had some big local national names on the show. We've had, David Gill, we had Dale Curry, we had Steve John, Dan Baldwin, a number of other people that people know locally and nationally. But I'm really excited about the next two guests because of what they've done and what they've overcome, and the fact that I've known one of them almost my whole life. So that makes it real special. Derek Howe, one of our own alumni from our program, is one of our guests. He's a current college student at San Jose State. He is currently majoring in journalism. He is also a part of the sports broadcasting team at San Jose State. And his story is just awesome. And I look forward to, watching him on ESPN one day, coming back to do the AT&T with Steve John and them over at Pebble Beach. And, that would be just make me have tears in my eyes. And the good thing about it is we know Steve John and them pretty well, so he might be able to make some of that happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
And also, the next guest, I get kind of a little bit emotional about because I've called him my little brother for so long. I've known him since he was, 14 years old, almost 15 years old, long before him having played and coached in 7 NFL Super Bowls, playing in 2 Pro Bowls, becoming an NFL player for 13 years, and an NFL coach for 16 years. 29 years in NFL, an All-American at that school that I don't like to say too much, Ohio State. Thomas Pepper Johnson, before all of that, he was a McKenzie High School Stag and a teammate of mine, and where we had to overcome a lot of things just in our school. We had a mini police station in our school, and that's enough said about that. So that alone tells you some of the adversity we had to overcome. And so I'm going to, get us going. We have a lot of questions. Thanks everybody for submitting so many questions for our guests, Derek and Pepper. And I'm going to let the voice, Jacob, you want to kick out the first question and get this party started?
Our first question is for Mr. Johnson. If you could please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you have had to overcome adversity.
Well, like Bill said, born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Went from Detroit McKenzie, All-American, defensive most wanted, to Ohio State, which wasn't, a lot of people didn't like that, but it was the best choice that I could have made. If I had to do it all over again, I would choose Ohio State again. I had to get away from Detroit, and but not too far because my mother wouldn't have. Ohio State was about as far as that she could ride. And from there, I was drafted by the team. I mean, I was so blessed in 1986 that it's incredible that after I played my last game at Ohio State in Citrus Bowl, I was defensive player of the game. I go on and get drafted by the team I wanted to get drafted by, and not too many people can say that. They may say one of, but no, the Giants was the team. And then my son was born that summer. Then I actually signed my contract on my 21st birthday. So go figure all that. And then you take a ride for the entire season to go to a Super Bowl under the wings of Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, George Martin, and Carl Banks, guys like that, Phil Simms. It was just incredible. It was an incredible ride. Enough about my first year. I spent 7 years with the Giants, and unfortunately, sabotage came into the league, and so I moved on and moved up on, stayed with Coach Belichick, which Shelton said 13 years I played in the league. 10 of them was up under Coach Belichick in some form or fashion. And 16 years I coached in the league. 13 of them was up under him in some form or fashion. Really 14, because 1 year doesn't count as a coach, but I was still up under him after the minority internship. But go from there and just have a tremendous professional a playing career, have a awesome NFL career, learned so much, and now I'm coaching high school, and I wanted to coach high school come in after my professional football career, and it's like I'm going about it backwards. I'm going to high school. I'm going to high school.
He wanted some more adversity in his life.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in Detroit and growing up in a tough neighborhood and coming out of a tough school wasn't enough. He decided, now I'm gonna go back and add some more adversity in my life and coach high school football. And I'm so proud of him doing that, because that's where the lives are changed. That's where my life was changed. That's where I got a lot of direction. I think Pep can say the same thing with that. And Derek, you want to tell us a little bit about your move from coming through the first tee and the adversities that you had to face and go around and come through to where you are now?
Well, thank you, Bill. And it's an honor to be with a Super Bowl champion, Pepper Johnson. Not too many days that you get to talk to a multi-time Super Bowl champion. And we won't mention his Ohio State versus Michigan record, because we'll get off topic. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone.
I just want to say hello to my parents, my sister, and my family, my friends. They're going to watch this, watching live, or they're going to watch this at a later date. So thank you guys for your support. I started at the first tee of Monterey County when I was about 7 or 8 years old. It's a funny story. So there was no Angie's List back in 2003 or 4. I'm born and raised in Salinas, California, and my dad could not find a babysitter for my older sister and I, so he decided to take us to the range, which is Twin Creeks Golf Course. I fell in love with the game from there. Of course, I played baseball through my childhood, but then I had a couple knee injuries before high school, so I decided to just go to the golf route, and look where it got me. It's an honor to be here and to just go through the program, growing up and seeing the evolution of the chapter, because I started in 2005 and there was like probably 400 kids, and now like Bill mentioned in the introduction, there's 10,000 kids, most of them right in the heart of East Salinas, and it means a lot to me to be part of for our family. It means a lot to be part of the foundation and to also see the kids that I coach, and now they're graduating high school, which is pretty amazing, and seeing all my friends still coaching there. And I try to give back to my community as best as I can. So it means a lot to be on this panel today, Bill.
Yeah. Tell me, and I'm going to go back and forth between you two. Pep, what was the biggest challenge, growing? I grew up, I had my mom was an alcoholic. A lot of people didn't know that. I've come to grips and learned, what she taught me, the things she taught me and helped me were, to cook, clean, math, go to school. So she did the best with her skills that she had in parenting. She also, showed me love in her best that she could. So that was my biggest challenge, overcoming, parties in the house, at certain times of the day and evening, was tough. Was something that was my biggest obstacle, was, being able to have a quiet place to study. Growing up as a younger kid, and then, was later on living with my grandmother, and that's why it was better for me in high school than it was in my earlier days of education. Fighting and all the things that we went through in my neighborhood seemed to be a normal deal. Yeah. It's not. I know it's not normal now, but to me it was normal because that's all we grew up with. So can you tell me, like, what was the biggest environment obstacle that you came over, in your upcoming and growing up in your neighborhood?
The same thing. I mean, it was every day. I mean, every day, just walking, when we were just walking to school.
Yeah.
I had to walk through 3 or 4 different gang neighborhoods,
Right.
stray dogs, it was just it was like an obstacle, but it was so routine, and I really didn't think about it or really didn't find negativity about it until I go to Ohio State and I talk to teammates that's from Tennessee, that's from Ohio, from California, from Virginia, from Florida. When people didn't have those obstacles and they was thinking that I was making stories up. I'm like, dude, you can't make up some of this stuff, that was a big obstacle. You had to run. Sometimes you had to run from certain people, and then sometimes you had to stop, turn around, and fight just to make it to school. But you still went to school. Now, at the same token, coming back home, because from me playing 3 sports, people knew I was an athlete. And the best thing that happened to me was getting a Letterman jacket and allowing people to know that, or a bag and carrying my gym bag. People in Detroit respected the athletes, for whatever reason. I'm hearing about people having their gym shoes taken from them, on bus stops or whatever. But we didn't have that. I didn't have that problem.
Well,
And
hey, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm not cutting in, but I remember, the guys who sold drugs in my community said, hey, you got a future. Man, we're not letting you run with us. You're not selling drugs, man. You're gonna do something with yourself. You're gonna be somebody, and we're not gonna let you do that. Matter of fact, when I didn't have football cleats one year, y'all didn't know, it was because a guy who actually sold drugs in my community actually bought my football cleats, because he said, man, how you doing? I said, I'm doing okay. I said, let's hope I don't, slide and slip all over the field because my cleats are in pretty bad shape. And I saw him that Thursday before the game, and he said, here's some football cleats. I was like, wow, and they were top of the line, so
how many touchdowns did you have to throw?
He might have had a little something on the game. I don't, back in those days, who knows? But it was a difference of opinion that they didn't want to see people, particularly athletes, go astray. They didn't want to see us live the same life they lived. And once you became an athlete that was well known, you didn't have to fight as much going home through those different communities. You kind of got a rite of passage to go through those communities, where before you'd have to fight somebody, maybe once or twice a week just to get through those communities, or almost get into a fight.
Yeah, that was the story of me. And then a few guys that I've seen faces so many times that eventually, a couple of guys tried out for the team. And I was like, wait a minute, I know that face from somewhere. Same knucklehead, is trying to jump me on my way going to school. So that was why, you talk about some obstacles where I was that guy that, you had to keep a reputation. So what I would do every year, I would go to all my teachers and get 2 sets of books. I would get a set of books that I could take home, and I would get another set of books that I would leave in my locker that I could take back and forth to class. So I didn't.
They didn't do that for me. I didn't get that treatment. I didn't get that treatment in high school.
You should have talked to them. You should have talked to them.
I was talking to them. I was begging them. You didn't see me out there begging outside their room?
Yeah.
I was always begging for extra credit work, anything to get my grades up.
I wasn't allowed on the second floor there. Remember, I was up on the 3rd floor. You had to spend rookies and sophomores, freshmen and sophomores had to lock on the 3rd floor, or all the way down on the 1st floor. You couldn't lock on in Athlete's Corner. Let's say that.
Yeah.
I took over Athlete's Corner my junior year.
Well,
but I got 2 books so that I can keep a reputation with the fellas that, I was too cool to take books home, and study and like everybody else. Because if you had a book bag, you automatically was a chump.
Yeah.
So I could go home and study with those books and take a couple of notes home or whatever, and just kept everything in the gym bag.
Yeah.
That was my
Derek,
strategy.
Derek, come on in this, man.
Yeah. So Pep, I know you played with Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, like you mentioned, both Pro Football Hall of Famers. I guess share with us your favorite Lawrence Taylor story, because I know there's probably a lot of them, but we have to keep it, for the audience here. So
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny that my favorite Lawrence Taylor story is not one of the 80s and us with helmets on, the shoulder pads or anything like that. My best Lawrence Taylor story is recently, I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago now, is I was at his golf tournament. It's funny, Sheldon brings up the golf. And
Yeah.
I was at his golf tournament, and he introduced everybody that was there, all the celebrities that came out to his tournament and thanking him and this, that, and other. And I was like, oh man, he's saving me for last. And he has Lawrence. Well, let me add this: Lawrence couldn't tell a joke back in the 80s and the 90s. He was terrible at telling jokes. So, but now he's become a regular freaking comedian nowadays. So, with him saving me for last, I just knew he was getting ready to just start with all the jokes. But this was, and the reason why I say Lawrence is it's a different person. He came out and he started talking about, first, I want y'all to know, he didn't make me, but he went on and on about how it was such a pleasure for him to play with me because I allowed him to be him without any hesitation. We just had a look, and he would look at me and I would be like, like our defense was set up a certain formation. He had to cover and I had to rush, but wait a minute, this is probably the best, or arguably the best pass rusher in NFL history. Why would I want him in a crucial situation to be dropping back where I took pride in coverage? So we used to make some things happen that, trust me, it wasn't in the playbook. And for Lawrence to say that to those people was huge for me. And
public acknowledgement.
That was big because he didn't have to. And that was one of those things that it was up until that point. I may have told a couple of people, how what we did, but I never said in the way that hey, I helped Lawrence get that sack. He really didn't supposed to be. No, I that wasn't us. We just played the game, and however we understood the game. We were like coaches out there on the field. And so if he wanted to go, I knew his responsibility. Let me go get over here. Let's figure out a way. And for him to go public and say that, that was huge for me. He might say it's a whole nother story, his best Pepper Johnson story, but that's my best Lawrence Taylor story.
Derek, tell me a little bit about your obstacle. About you said you stuttered a lot before, and some of that background, and you said you went through being bullied. I know a little bit about that from I got bullied by a girl in elementary school. I think I was in second grade. So I mean, I had my bully too. It was just she was a she. She didn't bully. She used to whoop my butt a lot. So I got that story. So tell me a little bit about your story of overcoming, the stuttering and also some bullying.
Yeah. So when I was 2 years old, I was diagnosed on the autism spectrum due to having 16 seizures within a 48-hour span. and my parents took me up to UC San Francisco, the hospital up there, and the doctors told my parents that I would not be able to, speak in complete sentences. I would not be able to attend like mainstream classes, and my parents did not take that for an answer. They enrolled me into like sports basically, and in the first tee as well. But I also endured bullying because my mom is Mexican and my dad's Chinese, so I'm half Mexican, half Chinese, and a lot of it was just like, I guess I would say dumb kid humor basically, and a lot of it was basically on my disability and my learning disability. And I just never, I've always believed in myself, and I knew how to overcome bullying, and I didn't know like what steps to report a bully were. And it was unfortunate because with autism we have trouble communicating with others, and we have trouble telling our problems, sharing our problems. Excuse me. But I think since I have such a great support system here with my family, my friends, and my first tee family, I was able to overcome that. And I struggled with stuttering. I still do. But my parents helped me get a speech therapist because I was in special education from kindergarten until I believe sophomore year when I got like all my services. And I'm still in I still get special ed services at San Jose State. But I think just having a speech therapist allowed me to speak in complete sentences and process things out, and also helped with my comprehension. And it also helped me just have a conversation. And I think without their help, I would not be talking to you two today. And it means a lot to just when you look back at all the things I've overcome, it's like, wow, I really did it. So I never take broadcasting a game for granted, or I never take writing an article for granted. And I think that's kept me from having like a big-headed mindset, because a lot of people, especially in journalism, a lot of people they want to just be on ESPN, but me, I just want to help my community out and give back to my community, inspire the next generation, because there's never been
I want you on ESPN so you can give a bigger donation to the First Tee and to the Future Citizens Foundation. That's why I want you on ESPN. That's my main reason. I mean, you can write a lot bigger check from ESPN than you can at WXYY. So, that's why I want you there. But no, I want you there because, you're one of us. And I love supporting people, who have come through the program and are one of us and part of our family. We wish we had more programs, like the First Tee in Detroit, like a Pay It Forward program, a $20,000 scholarship to go to school academically, or, a Taylor Farms Center for Learning where we have a STEM program, where you can learn about, how important engineering and math and science and all those things are to you in life. We didn't have that. So when I see the programs we have, the reason I'm so passionate about all of them is because I know, the leg up that these young people from communities like I lived in economically, are getting a leg up on life and having a better chance to be even more successful than the people, on this panel today, So that's what I get excited about. And when I say, where I see you at, believe me, the First Tee family will be behind you, and the Future Citizens Foundation and all of our donors and our contacts and networks, we're going to be behind you. We're going to try to help you have the biggest dream possible come true. If you do the hard work, you still got to do what you got to do, and you're doing that, right now. You're getting experience, you're at San Jose, you're getting your schooling, you're doing the things you're supposed to do. And to be able to tell that story, so many successful people have overcome, speech impediments, and speech impediments, and now you see them on TV, you wouldn't even know it. So, I'm listening to you right now, like, dang, he talked way better than me. I got to go to the course. But anyhow, I'm a whole nother messed up story. But, when I see you and how you articulate, from your point of view to us, to the audience, I think you're well on the way. Steve John definitely going to be getting the tape of this, but, so we'll push that his way and let him work, and you have Nance, who's right down there, not far from you. So, You know, we've got some people to help you, and then you got a guy who's right next to you on this panel who knows everybody. I mean, you talking about a PR man? He knows
Yeah.
everybody. So, you know, the fact that you've overcome those obstacles, you know, and the fact that you use First Tee to help you with that too, you know, I'm just proud. That's why I was so proud to have you come on today, because, you know, of what you've done despite, you know, obstacles and adversities. You didn't cry, you didn't go, woe is me. You know, that the guy next to you, he never was woe is me. He was always, matter of fact, he had to lift me up sometimes when I wanted to go to woe is me and say, nah, man, you know, we'll get them next game, or you'll have a better game the next game. Now, I didn't have many bad games, so I will say that. Not my senior year, but you know, he was always there to lift me up and help me to get through things. You know, and a lot of the adversities that you face and that I was facing in my home life, you know, before my grandmother and my aunts and them, you know, stepped in and helped me have a better life. You know, we didn't have the great programs that we have in the Future Citizens Foundation. You know, Monterey County is a special place, you know, with a lot of special organizations helping a lot of young people. And that's why I get so excited about that county. Yeah, we're going through a little tough time now, and we'll all come through that. And but our donors, our, you know, our board people, you know, the contributors across, you know, Monterey County, you know, do so much to help young people have a better life. We don't talk enough about that in the news or on national TV. You know, we always want to talk about, you know, a lot of the stories, you know, that need to be discussed, but we don't highlight enough of the positives too that are happening. And you know, that's one of my biggest issues, you know, with on how we look at things and how we cover things sometimes, because we discourage people from continuing to be, you know, positive influences on people who come from places that are different than them, you know. I'll let the voice hop in and get some of our studio questions from some of the audience that we have who have called in. So Jacob, you want to hit us with a question?
Yes, we have a question from Mr. Nua, who is a Detroit native and McKenzie High School 1991 graduate. What are 3 important tools you used throughout your careers that were most effective when sustaining success through adversity?
Sheldon, you want me to take that, or?
Yeah, that's you. You got that one.
First, I would say God's first. God is first. You have to believe. You have to see the bigger picture and have confidence that there's something better for you. How do I earn it? You know, you don't want anything given to you. You have to go get it. I think that would be my number 2. I would say go get it. Don't expect it. Don't wait. Don't go to play the lottery and all that stuff like that. Go get it. But trust me, you're gonna appreciate it a lot better when you out there and you're doing the work. You're studying. Your face is in the books. Like what Derek was saying, you know, he seeked help. His family helped him get help with his speech and everything in his schooling. All these programs, what Bill is talking about now, it's go out there. It's out there. You know, find it and don't wait for it to come to you. And I would say third would be confidence and preparation. I'm running those 2 together because I think they belong together. I really think they're twins, because you get more confidence in yourself. You get more confidence in your surroundings. You get more confidence in anything you do when you prepare for it, when you expect it, when you go and get it. When me out on the football field, what you know about me on the football field, you don't know my business world, but me out on the football field, I wasn't that guy after high school and college that went to the training facility, went to the Giant Stadium and worked out. Everybody was, you know, a lot of times people was worried about, was Pepper in shape? Was he getting in shape? How was he doing stuff? We never seen him here working out, but he lived right here in New Jersey, because I don't need a camera showing me how to run up and down a hill and lift weights and toss and all that stuff like that. I know my teammates are expecting me to stand in front of them and call the huddle, and you cannot call the huddle breathing, and tired. And I got that from Willie Lanier. He was one of well, he was the first black inside linebacker to play in the NFL. And when I heard that he said that, you didn't have to tell me anymore. There's no way in the world I'm going to stand in front of my teammates breathing and can't call the huddle. And Sheldon can tell you, I was an offensive lineman when I started at Muskegon in high school, but I was one of the bigger guys for high school, and I ran with the small guys. And coach would never let me stop running with the small guys. I ran with the small guys, and no, I wasn't coming in.
Quarter miles. We had to run them under 60 seconds.
So, but that was the mindset, and that's what we did, and that's, to me, that's what it takes.
Derek, want to tackle that?
Yeah. So my 3 tips is make sure that you have a good support system, and in the first tee, it's a go-to team. I know I have one for my family, and then a couple of my friends, and then a couple of my friends at different first tee chapters, because I've been fortunate enough to go to different national events and meet some incredible people from all over the country. Number 2, like Pep mentioned, believe in yourself. It applies to everything in life. No, we're not going to be perfect. I'm sorry, Pep, even though I have to mention about the New York Giants breaking the 16-0 2007 Super Bowl. We'll just leave that there.
It's life. It's a win-win situation.
Exactly.
I believe blue. I'm a Giant for life. So with us winning with the I said us, with the Giants winning the Super Bowl, I kind of say I was out there on the field, just on the wrong sideline.
Yeah. And then so number 2 is believing in yourself, because imperfect people have perfect moments, and I truly believe in that saying, because everybody's not perfect. Believe me, we all have encountered failures, and we've all encountered mountains that can be impossible to climb. But if you have the help and you have the support that you needed, then you're good to go. And my last one is be good at networking, because it's important to have great networks. I was fortunate enough to meet Rich Werner, who is a Golf Channel broadcaster, a couple of years ago in New York. Then we reconnected with him in Pebble Beach, and he gave me some great advice on just how to encounter sports media, because that's the field I want to go into. And it can be a challenging business, because jobs. I know a lot of the media side is going more digital, and it's sad to see like publications like Sports Illustrated, have to lay off people. But I think if you have a good networking team, then I feel like you'll pretty much get a job, anywhere you want to, as long as you put in the effort to check in with those networks and make sure you update, because that's important to me going through college, and eventually when I have to search for a job after I graduate in a couple of years.
My whole thing, I think, is have really good role models. People say, who are your role models? As I said, I think last week's show, my role models happen every day for me. They can happen every week for me, or every month or year. Whenever I meet a person of quality, then I try to emulate who they are and what they do and how they do it. I talked about Ron Johnson. He used to play with the Philadelphia Eagles, a wide receiver. Ron was on the show last week, and Ron is one of the people that I try to emulate. His humbleness. He's a humble guy. You wouldn't even know he played in the NFL. And he's a CEO of the Boys and Girls Club in Monterey County, and I lean on him for watching how he operates and how he maintains that humbleness, and I love that about that guy. I also listen to my mentor, is a guy named Bruce Taylor Farms here in Monterey County, and across a lot of other states too. But he's one of my mentors, and one of the things that made me reach out to him, after I got to know him a little bit. He told me one time, he said, not everybody will achieve the same success, but he says everybody deserves the same opportunity to achieve that success, and it's what you do with it. It's like, okay, look, you deserve a good education. You deserve people to allow you to be able to go to school. Now, will that make you the next, Bruce Taylor? Maybe not, but you deserve the same opportunity to become a Bruce Taylor. Now, it's what you do with that opportunity, that allows you to achieve that type of success. So, not everybody deserves the same success, but everybody deserves the same opportunity to have that type of success. And it's kind of what you said, what, Pep said, it's what you do. If you got to go after it, you got to go get it. I mean, he wouldn't be sitting where he's sitting if he just didn't go get it. A lot of people had the same opportunity for success as Pepper, as the New England Patriots, as the New York Giants, but they didn't have the same success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. It's what you do with that opportunity. So, that's one of the things I would say, and I really just appreciate looking at our young people and our programs and kind of what they do and how they do it. A guy named John Powers, y'all don't know who that is. And he talks about trade school. We need to have trade, programs within our organization. We don't have that right now, because, it's to the fact that people can make more money as a plumber than some people make, with other types of degrees or, trades. So what's wrong with being a plumber? I can't afford them. I do everything I can not to call a plumber because it costs so much money. So, just thoughts like that. So, surrounding yourself with good people who that you can emulate, I think helps keep you on the right path and avoid adversity by doing that. And that's what I would add to that. Jacob, quick one.
Our next question is for both Mr. Johnson and Mr. Au. What are the lessons of life that the game of golf can be related to?
I guess I'll go first. The game of golf, it's tough, as we know. I think there's 3 quick ones since we're close to the time limit. The first one is always be honest. It's important to, not only keep score, because, I've played with, unfortunately, I played with a couple of, guys that write down the wrong score, or they just try to cheat. I catch them, don't worry. But I know a couple weeks ago, Mr. Dale Curry said something that really struck a chord with me, is that you'll get to know a person when you take them out to the golf course. And to me, I've always tried to be an honest, respectful, polite person. And I feel like through the game of golf, that's taught me a lot. And number 2 is, just like I mentioned, is be respectful. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all come from different neighborhoods. And, I think it's important to appreciate diversity and appreciate the differences rather than arguing about them. And to me, that's what the game of golf has taught about. We don't have to have the same amount of money to play golf. If you look at professionally, a lot of the best golfers, female wise, are from South Korea. They don't have a lot of the same financial advantages in the U.S. And number 3 is to be, sportsmanship. I know it's tough, especially when you lose a tournament. It can be challenging, but I think you always have to be supportive of the champion. And I know Pep has done that in the, obviously playing the biggest game, Super Bowl. Sometimes you don't, it's not the result that you wanted, and that's, you can take that into life as well. I've got a personal story. When coming out of high school, I got denied by all the 4-year colleges I wanted to go to. So I went to community college. I did 3 years of that, but it taught me that, there's no limit on education. It doesn't matter what year you graduate. It doesn't matter what, how many years it takes for you, because at the end of the day, all that matters is that you have the degree and that it has your name right under it. And that's what I've always just taken to heart of, is that, you always have to get your degree. And that's what my dad always told me when I'm at college.
Thank you, Derek.
Let me just ride right on in with that segue. first with, you know, I told you guys a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Detroit, but my mother was born in Mississippi and my father's from South Carolina. And the South kind of comes out in me a little bit when I first want to say the measure of a man's success or a parent, anybody's success is through their kids. And you can have all the money in the world, but if your kids are out there running around like some knuckleheads, or you know you don't have any control over, or you didn't give them any guidance, you kind of miss something, you know. And with the golf in life, and maybe, and I'm gonna, you know, step out on a limb here, maybe because I took up golf so late in my life that I am a team sport person. So I learned so many lessons in team sports, and I have to say that I think football is the ultimate team sport because of everybody's responsibilities. So to compete in golf, I think is A plus. I mean, that is the ultimate sport because it's you. It's not really you against the next person. It's you and the elements. You know, that was the first thing that was taught to me that helped me love golf. And then just getting yourself up to par, you know, so to speak. And what you do after that, and when you get the opportunities to sink those birdies, then that's all a plus. But when we look at ourselves in life, we all, what Derek was saying, what Bill was saying, what I'm quite sure a lot of our listeners are thinking about, is that you need other people. And you need other people in support. There's so many things that, you know, you sometimes in referencing, we use the word I, but it's never really I did anything, you know. I get credit for winning 5 Super Bowls, but I was on some tremendous teams winning those 5 Super Bowls. And I'm here to tell you, you let me tell it, I should have 10 rings. You know, there's some other teams that, you know, that we came up short.
Well, you went to 7. You went to 7 Super Bowls.
I went to 7.
So
and one of those.
Explain the other 3 to me now, because you said 10. Now I'm giving you 7 because you actually went to 7 Super Bowls. Tell me about the 10. My math, I know that I wasn't sharp as candle, you know, light, you know, shining bright. But go ahead and tell me about why you come up with 10. I got 7 because you went to 7 Super Bowls.
But my 1994 Cleveland Browns, we go down as one of the stingiest defenses scoring. You know, the only stats don't matter to me. Pepper Johnson, stats don't matter to me. Anybody can talk stats. You tell me facts and show me the points. Your job on defense is to stop the other team from scoring more points than your offense. Boom, plain and simple. So that 1994 team that came in second place in the AFC Central to Pittsburgh.
I watched you. I was watching you. I watched all your games. I was
exactly.
there.
We go down as one of the stingiest defenses in NFL history in the 16-game season, but we have nothing to show for it. Like I said, we didn't even win the division. We lost to Pittsburgh 3 times that year and in the playoffs. And Pittsburgh goes out there and lose to San Diego in the AFC Championship game, and San Diego couldn't handle Frisco, which I knew would beat San Diego. And Frisco, our defense was made for that. Like San Francisco don't have a lot of success against Bill Belichick defenses, so that was one. And another
so that's one of the extra ones you talking about. That's one of you still ain't got the 10 yet. That may get you 8, but you ain't got the 10 yet.
Yeah, and then
you worse than Dale Curry. Dale Curry telling me that he that close to Steph in golf, when I know Steph will beat him by about 5 or 6 shots minimum. Yeah. And now you telling me you should have won 10 Super Bowls, and I'm only counting that I'm only up to 8, and I'm barely giving you the 8 because I don't know if you would beat that San Francisco team. But go ahead, try to get the 10.
We would have dusted them off because we were too physical. We were too physical.
That's
Then,
like me. I should have been in the NFL then. I should have had a career in the NFL then, because the Lions told me if I don't get hurt and I play well at receiver my junior year, then I can be in the NFL. So I guess I should have been in the NFL then.
that's a little far-fetched. That's a little far-fetched. You can throw the ball a lot better than you was going to catch the ball. I'm telling you, the team, the heart and the character of these teams, that 94 team was the same character and heart of teams that I went on to win Super Bowls with.
Jacob, get us another question. And we're running out of time because he ain't getting the 10. I think he barely got the 8, and that was kind of, I don't know. So that
all right.
Our next question is
98
from
New York
one of our
Jets
youth.
and
who was
yeah,
on that Jets team?
Huh?
Who was on that Jets team?
but that's when we lose the AFC. It doesn't matter. Lee, Curtis, Keith.
I give you and Curtis, but who else? Who is your
Vinny
quarterback?
Testaverde, Mo Lewis, Marvin Jones.
I'm not a big Vinny fan to say. I know you in Florida now, but I'm not a big Vinny fan to say that he could have got y'all.
Aaron Glenn.
Next question, Jacob, please. I like Aaron. I like you. I like Curtis Martin. Go ahead, Jacob.
The question is from one of our youth, and he wants to know, he's curious, on what degree did you work on while in school, and did you find it difficult to play sports and do academics? That question is for Mr. Johnson.
What about me? Yes and yes and yes. All of it was hard. Majored in business, majored in sports and rec communication. Sports and rec administration. And yeah, all of it was hard. And yes, yes, and yes. Pep went to Ohio State. That's all I got to say.
That guy started to throw punches at me. I don't even understand why he's throwing punches at me. But yes, it was very difficult, and I was one of those guys that got caught up in the wanting to please the coaches. That I even let my grades slip a little bit. They told me if I got another D, they were sending me home. I was going to lose my scholarship. I got on the dean's list for the rest of my that was my sophomore year. So the rest of my years I was at Ohio State, I was on the dean's list. Matter of fact, the first time I was on the dean's list, and Earl Bruce announced it. When he went to announcing everybody, and when he read my name, he was like, Pepper Johnson? He couldn't even believe it, and everybody, everybody just they broke out.
Okay, your kids get 30% of their intelligence from you now.
Yeah, my kids are on top of their game now. My daughter is honor student again this year.
Like I said, they get 30% of that from you.
Yeah,
you know the 70% comes from mom. You know that. Okay, next, go ahead, Derek.
So this question is for both of you. Since you grew up in the Detroit area, I want to know how did it feel to see one of your own, Jerome Bettis, win his lone Super Bowl final game of his career at Ford Field, downtown Detroit, beating Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, that talented Seahawks team. How did it feel being from the area to see one of your own, end his career, where basically his football life began?
Well, Derek, I'll take that first. The first thing I thought was, now that Gilbert Brown and Pepper can't tell Jerome he don't have a Super Bowl, because they always could tell him that you don't have a Super Bowl ring, so they always could jokingly hold that over his head. So the first thing I thought was, now Jerome has at least a taste of what Pepper and Gilbert Brown is. Gilbert Brown's another, of course, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl winner from our school, and I'm really proud of all three of those guys. But man, couldn't be more happier. I was happy to have another Max Stagg with another Super Bowl ring, so I could talk about the number of Super Bowl rings that we have. Maybe that's how Pepper's getting the 10. He's counting Gilbert's and Jerome's plus he is, so that's how I think he's getting the 10. So go ahead, Pep, you answer that.
It's a trick question. You said they beat Seattle. Was it the Cardinals?
No, Seattle was in 2000. That was at 2006, I believe. It was Super Bowl 40. think Antoine Randall won. No, Hines Ward won MVP. Santonio Holmes won the MVP for Steelers Cardinals. 2000 and I believe 9. It was at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa.
Yeah.
I'm messing up.
Talking about JB's first Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I can name you all those Super Bowls when the NFC won all 13 of those just on a streak when I was playing. And I can tell you the other ones, the ones that I was in and coaching. After that, I can't tell you any more Super Bowls. But anyway, no, yeah, I was very happy. I was very happy for him because he was considered like my puppy. So I brought him up and I love him. Like, I talk, his mother's like my mother and brothers and everything. And I love him to death. And he's a great kid. Wow. I mean, he is, and Sheldon talking about people being Bill was talking about people being humble. Bettis is, you would never know. You would never know. If anybody ever said anything negative about Jerome Bettis, said this or he turned away from me or something like that, something ugly, it wasn't Bettis. It was an impersonator because that guy doesn't have an ugly bone in him until he's on the field. Then when he turns into the bus, now he might mush you in your face. And that commercial, he's running over everybody in the flag football game is perfect for him. That is him. He's on the football field, mush you in the face. He gets off the football field, the dude is gonna go get you a glass of water. That's Jerome Bettis.
Thanks. Well, Pep, I just, concur with what Pep just said about JB. As a person, he's doing so much in the Pittsburgh area for, in programming, helping young people in education and schools. He's putting time in, and so he's carrying that flag and making us all proud off the field. And then he's, doing the same thing like Pep as a business person, making us proud by taking care of that part of their lives too. So, that's what I would say about him. Guys, man, the time went so quick and I didn't realize it. I know we got a lot more questions, a lot more questions, not a lot, but a lot more questions that we can answer and go to, but we just don't have enough time. So I want to thank both of you all for, being a part of this. Pep, you taking time out your busy schedule to come do this for me and help me out and share some, life stories about, achieving success over adversity. And Derek, the same with you. And I'm just proud of both of you guys and thank you very much for, just doing it. Because a lot of guys, they get busy, things come up. And I understand that part of life too. But the fact that you both took the time out to be here meant a lot to me. Next week, we'll have, our scholarship award winners from the Pay It Forward Scholarship Program, both current and former award winners, as well as the John Zoller Scholarship current and former award winners. And I'm looking forward to them being on here so that we can highlight them once again, but and also to ask them about, going through the program, what it's meant to them, what were their challenges going through the programs and coming through life, and what did they face. So we kind of continue this part two with our scholarship award winners, and we'll do this all again next Thursday at 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for all the people now who are tuning in from out that way to our town halls. And you're not going to want to miss next week because the stories and the behind these bright young people and where they're headed to will impress you. So thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. Pep, my man, appreciate it. My little bro, Derek, my little new mentee now. I'm going to be watching you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks to Jessica, Jacob, and Gabriella, who are all in, handling the control room, handling all this stuff for us and making this happen. And we'll see everybody next Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Here we go.
Great job, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep.